Alright guys, today we are going to be talking about the Unmade Halloween Returns. We're going to be talking a little bit about the script and just my thoughts on it. I'm going to give you guys a summary of what Halloween Returns was going to be as well. This is one of the Unmade Halloweens that for me is one of the most exciting ones. It's one of the ones that I really took to the script. Or parts of it when I first read it, but I did get a chance to actually read the whole script over the last few days, and yeah, it's interesting. It's obviously not perfect, that's for sure, but I wanted to kind of talk about it to you guys. I'm going to give you like a summary of what the story as such of Halloween Returns actually is, and then we can go into little parts of what I did like about it, what I didn't like so much about it as well, and yeah, just some cool things. So there are going to be some spoilers in this. If you do want to read the script for yourselves, I highly suggest do that and come back to this video. But if you just want to know a little bit more about the script, then this video is kind of perfect for you because I'm going to summarize it now. So guys, while the majority / basically all of this film takes place 10 years after Halloween Night 78, Halloween Returns actually starts us off on the night of 1978, the original Halloween. And yeah, we essentially just follow Michael for the start of this film, and we just see him, going crazy on Haddonfield. He's going through the streets. We see it from his point of view at times. It's a really cool start. And yeah, the start of this film actually involves Deputy Hunt, which is quite cool. We see a little bit more of him, which is interesting. And we also get introduced to a Dr. Rogers. Now, throughout this script, he is basically Loomis's kind of replacement in this, it feels like. Actually, Deputy Hunt's wife is murdered in the section of 1978 that we do see. But yeah, essentially we get to the point where Michael actually kind of just gives up and he submits himself. So he is captured in this, and then we make the time jump of 10 years. Michael is and has been on death row, and this is the time now when he's able to be executed, which is so insane to think of. When you read this script, it's just nuts thinking about Michael being in this situation, but not in a bad way either, it makes sense. This is where we're also introduced to what is essentially our Laurie replacement as well, and her name's Sophia, and she is Dr. Rogers' daughter. And we kind of see how she feels that she's been kind of neglected and put aside for the last 10 years, while Rogers has basically just been focused on Michael. And she does have a love interest who is Deputy Hunt's son. So yeah, he kind of manages to convince Sophia to get them into that execution room to be able to watch Michael die. And this bit in the script is where things just go crazy. I've read from this before, a couple of years ago, but yeah, we essentially have Michael in the chair, ready for his lethal injection, and, we kind of get a sense that he is actually starting to die, but then he locks eyes with Sophia, and it basically, long story short, it causes him to freak the fuck out. The lethal injection completely wears off, if that's what you want to call it, but it becomes completely useless to him. It does not work, and he then actually manages to escape his restraints in the chair, and he basically just goes on a rampage. And yeah, in doing so, this is how we get Michael's escape. When you're reading this and hearing how Michael's escaping, this is a very aggressive Michael Myers, which is something that I liked about the script. It did feel a little bit Rob Zombie at times, but the way that they did also handle Michael in this film, it was kind of a perfect medium of a really aggressive Michael, but also keeping the respect and characteristics of the shape, which was really good. But yeah, I'll get into that a little bit more later. And yeah, that's what basically swings us into this movie. It's a Halloween movie that's set in Russellville, not Haddonfield. And we basically follow Sophia, Noah, their kind of teenage party. And of course, Michael finds his way to that party. When you then dive into it, there's a lot of great things on this script. As I said, Michael in the film is handled very, very well, or in the script, sorry, and yeah, both the writers, Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan, did such a good job at handling Michael. You could tell there was a lot of care put into his character. He's as scary and creepy as he is in the original, but there's just this added meanness to him, a little bit like Halloween 2, actually, where there's just a bit more brutality to the kills, and he seems a lot meaner when doing these things, while also, though, keeping this, Michael playfulness, which is, it's kind of perfect what they did, obviously, on writing. Whether that could translate to, on the big screen is a different conversation, but yeah, what they were writing was really good. And yeah, to say a little bit more about the writing, this is a pretty good story overall. There are some nitpicky bits that, I'm going to get into, but it's very unpredictable at times, or at least I found it that when I was reading it. And also, I don't know if that was because I was just reading a script. You know, if this was put on a screen, maybe it would be quite predictable. But to me, when I was reading it, it was, you know, taking turns I didn't think it would. You know, not loads of times, but a couple of times I found myself getting thrown off and like, well, I did not expect that to happen. I really do wish that Patrick and Marcus had gotten a chance to make this or a Halloween film, because, you know, they clearly know what they're doing. They keep a real respect with the Halloween fans as well, because, you know, it's like they know what the needs and rules are almost of a Halloween film, you know, especially the idea of us not seeing Michael's face. You'll notice very early on if you read it, especially when it's like the lethal injection scene, you know, the way it's written is very much, you know, hinted, and not hinted even, like put in our face, you know, that on screen we will not be seeing his face or his full face. And that's perfect. That's exactly like the start you need when making a film about Michael Myers, you know, keeping his face hidden. That's such a big thing for a lot of Halloween fans, and you know, they did a really good job at that with this script. There's a very cool post-credit scene as well where we do actually get a Loomis return. You know, it's not like Halloween as well to have like a post-credit scene like that, but they do include one in this film, and he gets the last lines of the movie, which are him saying he's simply and purely evil. But yeah, a couple of things that I didn't like too much about it was I didn't know if I was a big fan of Dr. Rogers or that character as a replacement to Loomis. And then there's also one thing that just like didn't make any sense throughout it, which I think would have definitely needed to be like written out of the script if possible. But there's a lot of moments in this where, like, bearing in mind this is set 10 years after the original, so we're at 1988 here, and there is talks of smartphones, iPods. There's, I'm pretty sure there's a line where somebody says, oh, I need to take a selfie. And it just really doesn't make sense. It kind of does mess up, you know, envisioning what this would have looked like on the big screen, because, you know, you imagine in the 80s and seeing smartphones, stuff like that, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame that that was in there. You know, I feel like that's a bit of a, you know, like dumb kind of mistake to make maybe. But yeah, other than that, I think Halloween Returns is a very, very fun script and a fun story for the Halloween franchise. So with that being said, if you have read the script, let me know what you think about it, and if not, I highly suggest, you know, you go and take a read of it or just read some bits from it, because I think, you know, if you're a Halloween fan, there are going to be some moments in that script that really like please you. Yeah, it's a very good experience, so I highly suggest it. But yeah, that was Halloween Return. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and I will